Imagine sitting at a family dinner, surrounded by the people who are supposed to love you unconditionally. Your brother looks you dead in the eye and says, "You're not part of this family. Don't show up, not as a joke, not in the heat of an argument, just cold, casual, like he was telling you the weather." That happened to me 4 years ago at what was supposed to be a normal family gathering. I walked out that night with my heart in pieces, wondering how the people I'd sacrificed everything for could treat me like I was nothing. 4 days later, their entire world came crashing down. Not because I screamed, not because I fought back, not because I exposed them or dragged them through the mud. I just stopped. Stopped answering calls. Stopped sending money. Stopped being their safety net. And it turns out, without me holding everything together, they had nothing. This is the story of how I went from being the family's invisible support system to the one person they desperately needed and couldn't reach. If you've ever been the strong one in your family, the person everyone leans on but nobody appreciates, this story is going to hit different. Hit that like button right now. Subscribe for more stories about standing up, cutting toxic people off, and choosing yourself, and get comfortable. Because what you're about to hear, it's about betrayal, awakening, and the kind of revenge that doesn't need to be loud to absolutely destroy someone. Let's dive in. My name is Jenny. And for most of my life, I was the responsible one. The dependable one. The one who always showed up, always helped out, always said yes. I'm the youngest of 3 kids. My older brother, Marcus, was always the favorite. The first grandchild, the only son, the golden boy who could do no wrong. Then there's my sister Claire. The middle child, the dramatic one, the one who learned early that tears and tantrums got attention. And then there was me. Quiet, studious, invisible unless someone needed something. Don't get me wrong, I wasn't neglected in the traditional sense. I had food, clothes, a roof over my head. But emotionally, I was an afterthought. When I got straight A's, it was expected. When Marcus scraped by with C's, it was celebrated like he'd cured cancer. When I got into a top university on a full academic scholarship, my parents said, "That's nice, honey," and went right back to planning Marcus's graduation party from community college. But I didn't complain. I thought that's just how families worked. You put your head down, you work hard, and eventually, people notice. People care. Spoiler alert, they don't. After college, I landed a great job at a financial consulting firm. The pay was excellent, especially for someone fresh out of school. I got my own apartment, started building my life. That's when the calls started. First, it was Mom. "Honey, your father's hours got cut at work. We're a little short this month. Could you help with the mortgage? Just this once?" Just this once turned into every month. Then it was Marcus. "Hey sis, my car broke down. I need like $2,000 for repairs. You know I'm good for it." He was never good for it. Then Claire. "I got evicted. Can I stay with you for a few weeks?" A few weeks turned into 8 months. And every single time I said yes. Because that's what family does, right? You help each other, except it only ever went one direction. When I asked Marcus to help me move into a new apartment, he was too busy. When I asked Claire to pitch in for groceries while she was living with me rent-free, she said I was being petty. When I asked Mom and Dad if they could maybe start paying me back some of what I'd lent them, Mom cried and said I was making her feel like a burden. So I stopped asking. I just kept giving, kept sacrificing, kept being the dependable one. And deep down, I told myself it would matter eventually. That one day, they'd see how much I'd done for them, that they'd appreciate me. God, I was naive. Fast forward 5 years. I'm 32 years old. I've been promoted twice. I'm making 6 figures. I own my apartment outright. And I've spent over $200,000 supporting my family. $200,000. Do you know how much they've paid back? 0. Not a single cent. Meanwhile, Marcus is still bouncing between jobs, living in Mom and Dad's basement, driving a car I paid for. Claire's on her third failed business venture, funded entirely by loans from me that she has no intention of repaying. Mom and Dad? They downsized to a smaller house, which I helped with the down payment for. They're retired now, living comfortably on a combination of Dad's pension and my monthly contributions. And me? I'm exhausted, not just financially, emotionally, spiritually. I'm burnt out from playing Atlas, holding up everyone's world while my own crumbles. But I keep doing it. Because what's the alternative? Walking away? That would make me the bad guy, right? That's what I told myself. Until the dinner. 4 years ago, Mom decided we needed a family reunion dinner. All of us together, like the old days. I almost didn't go. I was tired. I had a brutal week at work, but Mom guilted me into it, so I showed up. Big mistake. The dinner was at Mom and Dad's place. Marcus was there with his new girlfriend, some woman he'd been dating for 3 weeks, but was already talking about moving in with. Claire showed up late, as usual, complaining about traffic. We're sitting around the table, eating the pot roast I'd paid for, because of course I'd Venmo'd Mom money for groceries earlier that week. Small talk. Boring updates. The usual. Then Marcus starts talking about this big opportunity he's got. Some buddy of his wants to start a business flipping houses, and Marcus is thinking about investing. Investing? With what money, I wanted to ask, but I bit my tongue. I'm thinking about asking Jen for a loan, he says casually, like I'm a bank, and not his sister who's already bankrolled his life for the past decade. I set down my fork. Actually, I can't help with that. The table went quiet. What do you mean you can't? Marcus asks, looking genuinely confused. I mean, I'm done lending money that never gets paid back. I've given you over 50 grand in the last 5 years and I've never seen a dime of it. His face hardened. Wow, okay. Didn't realize we were keeping score. We're not, I said, keeping my voice calm. But I'm allowed to have boundaries. Boundaries, Claire scoffed. You sound like one of those self-help podcasts. I turned to her. You've been living off me for years, Claire. You don't get to mock me for finally saying no. Living off you? She snapped. You offered to help. I offered once. You took advantage for a decade. Mom jumped in, her voice shaking. Jenny, that's enough. We're family. We help each other. No, Mom, I said, and I could feel tears burning behind my eyes, but I refused to let them fall. I help you. All of you, and none of you have ever helped me. Dad, who'd been silent this whole time, finally spoke. You're being dramatic. Dramatic. That word. I laughed. Actually laughed. A bitter, hollow sound. Dramatic? I've given you over $200,000 in the last 5 years. I've paid for cars, rent, groceries, bills, down payments. I've sacrificed vacations, relationships, my own mental health to keep all of you afloat. And I'm dramatic for asking you to acknowledge that? Marcus stood up, his chair scraping loudly against the floor. You know what your problem is? You think you're better than us because you have money. You act like some kind of martyr, but nobody asked you to do any of that. I stared at him. Really looked at him. This man I'd idolized as a kid. This person I'd bent over backwards to support. And I felt nothing. No love. No anger, just emptiness. You're right, I said quietly. Nobody asked, but every single one of you took. And when I finally say I'm done, you make me the villain. I stood up, grabbed my purse. Jenny, sit down, Mom said, her voice sharp now. We're not done talking about this. But I was done. I turned to leave, and that's when Marcus said it. The words that changed everything. Just tell me when the next reunion is, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. I'll make sure I'm available. Marcus looked at me with pure contempt. You're not part of this family. Don't show up. Silence. Nobody corrected him. Nobody defended me. Mom looked away. Dad stared at his plate. Claire examined her nails. I waited, gave them a chance to take it back, to say something. Anything. Nothing. Okay, I said softly. Got it. And I walked out. I didn't cry in the car. I didn't cry when I got home. I didn't cry at all. I just felt numb. That night, I sat in my apartment, staring at my phone, waiting for someone to call, to apologize, to check if I was okay. Nobody did. The next morning, I woke up with a clarity I hadn't felt in years. If I wasn't family, then I didn't owe them anything. Not my money. Not my time. Not my energy. I opened my banking app and canceled every recurring payment I had set up. The monthly transfer to Mom and Dad's account. The autopay for Marcus's car insurance. The Netflix subscription Claire used. Gone, all of it. Then I blocked their numbers. Not permanently, just muted. I needed space to think without being bombarded by demands disguised as requests. For the first time in a decade, I felt like I could breathe. Day 3 after the dinner, the emails started. Mom. Honey, the mortgage payment didn't go through. Did you forget? I didn't respond. Day 4, the texts came flooding in from numbers I hadn't blocked yet. Marcus. Yo, insurance company says my policy lapsed. What's going on? Claire. Why is Netflix saying the account is canceled? I was in the middle of a series, still didn't respond. Day 5, Mom called from a different number, left a voicemail. Jenny, I don't know what's going on, but this isn't funny. Your father and I are getting notices from the bank. Please call me back. I listened to the voicemail 3 times and deleted it. Day 7. A week after the dinner, I got a call from an unknown number. Against my better judgment, I answered. It was Dad. Jenny, what the hell is going on? His voice wasn't concerned. It was angry. Hi, Dad, I said calmly. How can I help you? How can you? He sputtered. You can start by explaining why you've cut us off. You told me I'm not family, so I'm acting accordingly. That was Marcus being an idiot. You can't just what? Stop funding everyone's lives? Pretty sure I can. Your mother is in tears. We're going to lose the house. And there it was. Not, we're sorry. Not, we miss you. Just, we need your money. Dad, you have a pension. Mom has Social Security. You'll figure it out. You're being selfish. I wanted to scream, to rage, to list every single sacrifice I'd made. Instead, I said, I have to go. And hung up. Over the next 2 weeks, the messages escalated. Claire showed up at my apartment building, buzzing my intercom at midnight, crying about how she couldn't pay rent and was going to be homeless. I didn't let her up. Marcus sent a series of texts ranging from apologetic to hostile. Look, I'm sorry I said that. Can we talk? You're really going to ruin our lives over one comment? You're a selfish bitch, you know that? I blocked him. Mom tried the emotional manipulation route. I don't know what we did to deserve this. I raised you better than this. That one stung. Not because it was true, but because I'd spent so long believing it might be. But I held firm. 3 weeks after I cut them off, I got a call from a family friend, Mrs. Patterson. She'd known us for years, watched us grow up. Jenny, honey, I heard what happened. Are you okay? The concern in her voice almost broke me. I'm fine, Mrs. Patterson. Your mother called me. She's not doing well. She told me what your brother said at dinner. That was cruel, honey, but they're struggling. Your father's talking about selling the house. They'll be okay, I said. They just need to adjust to living within their means. There was a pause. You've been carrying them for a long time, haven't you? Tears finally came. Yeah, I have. Then it's time they learn to stand on their own. You take care of yourself, sweetheart. That phone call was the permission I didn't know I needed, 2 months after the dinner. Mom and Dad sold the house, downsized to a small apartment. It turns out when you actually budget and live within your pension, you can survive. You just can't live extravagantly. Marcus's girlfriend left him when she realized he was broke. He moved back in with Mom and Dad, in their 1-bedroom apartment. He's sleeping on the couch, again. Claire filed for bankruptcy. She's living with a friend now, finally working a real job instead of chasing get-rich-quick schemes. And me? I took the money I would have sent them that month and booked a trip to Italy. Solo. 2 weeks of art, food, and zero guilt. I came back feeling lighter than I had in years. 3 months after the dinner, Mom sent a letter, an actual handwritten letter. Dear Jenny, I've had a lot of time to think. You were right. We took you for granted. We took advantage of your kindness and never appreciated how much you sacrificed for us. Your brother is ashamed of what he said. He's too proud to say it, but he is. I'm not asking for money. I'm not asking for anything except a chance to talk, to explain, to apologize properly. I love you. I always have. I just forgot to show it. Love, Mom. I read it 5 times, and I cried. Really cried, for the first time since that dinner. Not because I was ready to forgive them, but because it hurt. It hurt to realize that it took losing my money for them to see my value. I agreed to meet Mom, just her, at a neutral location, a coffee shop downtown. She looked older, tired. The kind of tired that comes from stress, not just age. We sat in silence for a moment. Thank you for coming, she finally said. I almost didn't. I wouldn't blame you if you hadn't. More silence. Mom, do you have any idea how much I've given you? All of you? She looked down at her coffee. Your father and I went through the bank statements. We didn't realize. Over $200,000. Her hands trembled. Jenny, And not once, I continued, my voice cracking. Not once did any of you say thank you. Not once did you ask if I was okay, if I needed help, if I was struggling. You just took. Tears streamed down her face. You're right. We did. So why did it take me cutting you off for you to care? She looked at me, and for the first time in my life, I saw genuine remorse in her eyes. Because we got comfortable. Because you were always so strong, so capable. We forgot you were human. We forgot you had limits. I told you I had limits, at that dinner, and Marcus told me I wasn't family. He was wrong. He was cruel. And I should have said something. I should have defended you. But you didn't. No, I didn't. And I'll regret that for the rest of my life. We sat there, 2 broken people, trying to figure out if something shattered could ever be whole again. I don't know if I can forgive you, I said honestly. Not right now. Maybe not ever. I understand. But I'm willing to try, slowly, with boundaries. Real boundaries, she nodded. Whatever you need. And if anyone, and I mean anyone, tries to guilt me or manipulate me or ask me for money, I'm gone. Permanently. Understood. It's been 6 months since that coffee shop meeting. Things are different. I see Mom once a month for lunch. Just the 2 of us. We talk about books, her garden, my work. We don't talk about money. We don't talk about Marcus or Claire. Dad and I exchanged emails, polite, cordial, distant. We're working on it, but the trust isn't there yet. Marcus sent a text 3 months ago. I'm sorry for what I said. You deserved better. I replied, thank you. That was it. I'm not ready for more. Claire and I haven't spoken. She's angry that I won't fund her anymore. I'm okay with that. And me, I'm thriving. I got another promotion. I'm seeing someone who appreciates me, not my wallet. I'm in therapy, working through decades of being the responsible one and learning that setting boundaries doesn't make me selfish. I'm happy. For the first time in my adult life, I'm genuinely, deeply happy. People ask me if I regret cutting them off. No. I regret waiting so long to do it. Because here's what I learned. Being family doesn't give people the right to use you. Love isn't supposed to be one-sided, and you can't pour from an empty cup. The people who truly care about you will respect your boundaries. The ones who don't, they were never really there for you in the first place. Walking away from my family was the hardest thing I've ever done. It was also the best. Here's the thing about cutting off toxic people, even when they're family. It's not about revenge. It's not about being petty or cruel. It's about choosing yourself, about saying, I matter too. And sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do isn't fighting back. It's walking away, leaving them to face the consequences of treating you like you were disposable. Because the truth is, they didn't need to lose you to appreciate you. They just needed to stop taking you for granted. And by the time they realized that, you were already gone. If you're the person everyone leans on, the one who always says yes, the one who sacrifices everything for people who wouldn't do the same for you, this is your permission slip. You're allowed to walk away. You're allowed to say no. You're allowed to choose yourself. And you don't need to feel guilty about it. If this story resonated with you, if you've ever been the strong one who got taken for granted, smash that like button. Drop a comment and tell me, have you ever had to cut off someone toxic even if it was family? How did it change your life? And if you want more stories about setting boundaries, choosing yourself, and the quiet power of walking away, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. Thanks for listening. Take care of yourself. I'll see you in the next one.